You won't believe the places where black travelers are facing unexpected challenges. Welcome to 10 Globe Trips. In today's video, we're diving into something that every black traveler needs to know before booking their next adventure. The top 10 countries where black people are not welcomed. From hidden prejudices to outright discrimination, some destinations can make black travelers feel anything but safe. You might expect a warm welcome when exploring new cultures, but for some, the reality can be far different. In this video, we're not just talking about subtle racial biases or awkward stares. We're talking about serious racial tensions, anti-black sentiment, and even places where travel warnings for black people are a must. If you've ever wondered which countries have hostile environments or where black travelers may face racism, you've come to the right place. We'll also be sharing insights on countries black people should avoid, and what you need to know to stay safe abroad. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for the full list. This might just change your travel plans. So sit back, relax, and get ready for the shocking truth. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on travel tips. Number 1. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia may be known for its wealth and rich history, but when it comes to welcoming black people, things take a sharp turn. In fact, 70% of labor disputes in the country involve black workers, many of whom come from African nations as part of the large migrant labor force. The kingdom has been widely criticized for its treatment of black laborers, who often face harsh working conditions and rampant racial discrimination. It's no secret that Saudi Arabia's strict cultural laws make it difficult for many foreigners to adjust. But for black travelers, the situation can be even more uncomfortable. The racial bias doesn't just affect migrant workers. It extends to black visitors and expatriates, who frequently encounter subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, prejudice. Many black people report being treated with suspicion or even hostility in public spaces, making everyday activities like shopping or dining out feel like navigating a social minefield. And don't even get us started on the stares. Yes, the I single quotes that never seen someone like you stare is all too common. Let's be clear. Saudi Arabia's unwelcoming attitude toward black people isn't just a modern issue. Historically, racial hierarchies have existed in the region, influenced by the slave trade and long-standing cultural norms. While progress is being made in some areas, systemic issues still persist, making it one of the countries black travelers may want to avoid. If you're planning a trip to the kingdom, pack your patience and maybe a thick skin, because it's not exactly the warmest place for black visitors. Number 2. Japan. Japan, the land of cutting-edge technology, mouth-watering sushi, and cherry blossoms, has plenty to offer. But when it comes to embracing diversity, the country has some serious catching up to do. In fact, 45% of black expatriates living in Japan report experiencing racial bias. Whether it's being stared at on public transportation or feeling like an outsider in social settings, subtle exclusion is a common experience. The lack of racial diversity makes it hard for black travelers to feel truly welcome. Japan consistently ranks high on the list of countries black people might want to avoid. And it's not just the day-to-day interactions that cause discomfort. The Japanese media doesn't exactly help either. Negative stereotypes about black people are still perpetuated in television shows, advertisements, and even cartoons. Shockingly, it's not uncommon to still see blackface used in Japanese media, a startling reality for many first-time visitors. This reinforces outdated and offensive views, making black travelers feel more alienated. Historically, Japan has been a largely homogeneous society. While it's slowly opening up to foreign influences, the acceptance of racial diversity has lagged behind. For black people, this often means encountering microaggressions or even overt racism, whether they're shopping, dining, or just trying to enjoy Japan's famous tourist attractions. So while Japan's high-tech gadgets and iconic landmarks are tempting, its lack of diversity and racial bias place firmly on the list of countries where black people are not welcomed. If you're planning a trip, be prepared to navigate more than just the language barrier, and maybe pack a bit of extra patience. Number 3. India. India, with its vibrant culture, rich history, and stunning landmarks, is a bucket list destination for many. But for black visitors, India presents unique challenges that can make their stay far from comfortable. Colorism in India runs deep. A staggering 62% of black expatriates report experiencing racial discrimination, and it's not just limited to uncomfortable stares, unwelcoming comments, or worse are all too common for black travelers. This deeply rooted bias stems from India's colonial past, where lighter skin was often associated with higher status. Unfortunately, those outdated ideas still persist. Black people often find themselves on the receiving end, whether walking through bustling markets or visiting the famous Taj Mahal. Don't be surprised if you feel like an exhibit on display. Yes, you'll get those did-you-just-step-off-a-UFO stares from locals who may have never seen a black person before. Beyond the stares and comments, black travelers in India can face more serious issues, such as being treated with suspicion or even denied service in some establishments. While India's diverse culture is a major draw, its struggle with accepting darker skin makes it one of the countries black people might want to avoid. If you're considering a trip to India, keep in mind that exploring this beautiful country comes with its own set of challenges. India's deep-seated colorism and racial bias place firmly on this list. Approach your trip with an open mind, and perhaps a thick skin. Number 4. South Korea. South Korea, home to K-pop, cutting-edge technology, and mouth-watering BBQ, has become an increasingly popular destination. However, for black travelers, navigating this highly homogeneous society can feel like being the only dish at a buffet no one wants to try. Standing out as a foreigner in South Korea is already a challenge. Being black makes it even tougher. An alarming 55% of black expatriates report experiencing racial discrimination. Whether it's being turned away from a taxi or enduring endless stares, many black people feel out of place. The situation isn't helped by South Korean media, which has a long history of portraying black people negatively. From outdated stereotypes to insensitive depictions, black travelers often find themselves misrepresented or misunderstood. These portrayals only reinforce prejudice, making everyday interactions awkward or unwelcoming. Black travelers often report that even simple activities like grocery shopping or sightseeing can feel isolating, as locals stare or avoid interaction. If you're thinking of visiting South Korea, brace yourself for a mix of excitement and frustration. While the country has plenty to offer, racial bias and cultural misunderstandings still make it one of the top 10 countries where black people are not welcomed. Number 5. Israel. Israel is a country with deep historical roots and complex social layers, but for black travelers, it can be a particularly tense environment. Many black people, including Ethiopian Jews who live there, face systemic discrimination. Approximately 55% of black individuals in Israel report feeling racially profiled or treated as second-class citizens. While you might expect a nation built on the idea of inclusion to be welcoming, the reality is more nuanced. Ethiopian Jews, despite sharing the same religion, often struggle with limited opportunities, police brutality, and social segregation. Black tourists and expats have also reported instances of being questioned excessively at borders and airports, as well as being randomly stopped by police. The country's strict security policies often cross over into racial profiling, especially for black people. This level of suspicion and inequality can make travel uncomfortable, and if you're visibly black, expect curious stares and sometimes blatant bias. Israel is a land of faith and history, but its relationship with race and identity is still evolving. For black travelers, it's a destination that requires extra awareness, resilience, and research before arriving. Number 6. Ukraine. Ukraine, with its rich Slavic culture and historic cities, is a place of beauty and resilience. But unfortunately, for black travelers, the welcome can be frosty both figuratively and literally. A concerning 65% of black expats and students have reported experiencing racism in Ukraine. In fact, several incidents of violence and public discrimination against Africans and other people of color have made international headlines over the years. Black students in Ukrainian universities have frequently shared stories of being targeted, harassed, or unfairly treated by both peers and law enforcement. During the 2022 war crisis, there were even shocking reports of African students being denied access to evacuation efforts, while white foreigners were helped first. On the streets, black people often receive uninvited attention, whether it's in the form of awkward stares, whispered comments, or even racial slurs. While Ukraine is home to many warm and generous people, the societal awareness and acceptance of black individuals is still quite limited. The current socio-political climate only adds to the tension. So, if Ukraine is on your travel bucket list, it's best to go informed, prepare, and with the understanding that this may not be the most inclusive experience. Number 7. Russia. Russia is a vast, culturally rich country, but for black travelers, it can feel like stepping into a cold and unfamiliar world. Beyond just the weather, roughly 70% of black people who've spent time in Russia report facing racism in some form, be it verbal abuse, stares, or even physical harassment. Unfortunately, Russia has a long-standing issue with xenophobia, and people with darker skin are often singled out in public spaces. Many black residents and students have spoken out about being stopped by police for random checks far more frequently than their white counterparts. Some clubs and establishments in cities like Moscow or St. Petersburg have been known to deny entry to black patrons with no explanation. The issue isn't just individual, it's systemic. From media portrayals to societal attitudes, there's a strong undercurrent of suspicion toward foreigners, especially black individuals. While not every Russian is racist, the frequency and severity of incidents make it a destination that demands caution. If you're planning a trip, it's wise to stay in tourist-friendly areas. Keep your documents on you at all times, and try to move in groups, especially at night. Russia has its wonders, but the experience for black travelers is far from rosy. Number 8. China. China is one of the most rapidly modernizing countries in the world, filled with stunning landscapes, deep traditions, and booming megacities. But for black visitors, the experience can be a complicated one. Around 60% of black travelers say they've felt some form of discrimination in China, from microaggressions to outright hostility. Many of these issues stem from lack of exposure. Some locals have never seen a black person before, leading to awkward interactions, stares, and even people trying to touch your hair or skin without permission. In some cities, black residents had been denied services like housing, taxes, or even restaurant entry. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a wave of xenophobia swept through parts of China, and black residents in cities like Guangzhou were reportedly evicted and denied medical care due to unfounded fears. That said, not every experience is negative. In more international cities like Shanghai and Beijing, you're likely to find pockets of open-minded people and even expat communities. Still, China requires mental and emotional prep. If you're black, you might be a walking curiosity, and not always in a good way. Number 9. Greece. Greece is the land of ancient myths, stunning coastlines, and mouth-watering Mediterranean cuisine, but beneath the postcard beauty, there are some racial issues that black travelers need to be aware of. Roughly 50% of black visitors say they've experienced some level of discomfort or discrimination while in Greece. These range from subtle stares and cold service to more overt acts like racial slurs or being ignored in shops and restaurants. While major cities like Athens and tourist hotspots like Santorini are generally more open-minded, racism still exists, especially in more rural or less touristy regions. Black expats and immigrants in Greece have often shared stories of police harassment and difficulties in accessing equal opportunities. The rise of far-right political groups in recent years has also fueled anti-immigrant and racist rhetoric in some circles. The country's history is rich, but its social progress, especially around race, is still a work in progress. Number 10. Argentina. Argentina is known for tango, football, and stunning natural beauty, but it's also a place where black travelers often feel invisible or worse, unwelcome. Statistically, only about 1% of Argentina's population identifies as black, and the lack of diversity often leads to racial ignorance. Around 45% of black travelers say they've faced awkward or even racist encounters in Argentina. The issue here isn't always direct hostility, it's often the feeling of erasure. Black history in Argentina has been largely written out of the national narrative. Many locals still believe there are no black people in Argentina, which leads to surprise, confusion, and even exoticization when black tourists arrive. In short, Argentina is beautiful, but don't be surprised if you feel like you're constantly having to explain your presence. Traveling while black can be an incredibly rewarding experience, but it's important to be aware of the challenges that come with navigating environments where racial biases are still prevalent. From Saudi Arabia to Argentina, these 10 countries highlight the difficulties black travelers may face. While they offer beautiful landscapes, rich cultures, and historical landmarks, they also present a reality of discrimination, racism, and exclusion that can make the travel experience less welcoming. It's crucial for Black travelers to consider these factors when planning their trips and to seek out destinations that prioritize diversity, inclusion, and racial equality. Fortunately, there are plenty of countries around the world where Black travelers can feel safe, respected, and welcomed. So, what do you think about these countries? Have you experienced challenges while traveling abroad as a Black person? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends.